this and go on. All right. So this year, with your permission, is going to be shorter.
That's fine. We understand.
No problem.
Okay. So we said here, then became day, and they saw the animals are standing there, the horse is standing there. They went down, they started chasing, and this one after the animals, this one after the horse, and the cattle was running away, and he was chasing them. The second one ran after the horse, was chasing it, until they actually got lost from one another. And while this was going on, he found a sack with bread. And this obviously is very, very important in the wilderness. And he took the sack on his shoulder and he went after the animals. One of the things that we need to talk about this this particular Indian, again, I don't know why they does that, but anyhow, is you know that we have the 7 midos, we have the seven sefirot, and the first one of the midot, of the tools with which to give over the content of the Chochmah and the Bina, is the midah of Chesed. And it's an important thing to see here. We saw that the real prince and the real son of the slave, they were together on the tree while it was night, while they were afraid, they were fearful, they were together, they remained together, but then it became daylight. In daylight, this one saw his cattle, this one saw his horse, and each one was chasing after his own cause, and they separated. It is very common that during time of crisis, that people come together. It is true that it depends what kind of crisis it is. But if they are, if they are in a very, very deep crisis, then the crisis can separate them, because then, each one to his own. And those who are special, those who are above the usual, this is the time when they come forth and they show their mantle. They show their ability. The problem is that when it's a crisis, the shooting from Gaza, whatever it is, whatever, but people are not, people realize there's war going on or this is going on. So everybody sticks together. But the minute that the morning comes, at the light of the morning, they separate. And the reason for the separation is the different manifestation of the midah, of the trait of chesed, kindness. Kindness is an overall midah that can lead, it has basically two children. One of them is love and the other one is lust. And the meter of the difference between, I mean, both the meter of love and lust are, wild broncos. I mean, they cause people to go way beyond, the the boundaries, and they bring about, like it says, al kol pshayim techaseh ava, love conquers all boundaries, it covers all crimes, it can forgive, everything can be forgiven, and so forth and so on. Lust works the same way. The difference between love and lust, it doesn't matter which lust it is or which love it is. It could be the love for food or the lust for food, is that love has a goal of unifying, of making the separate one. You see, we all have to start separate. A child, in a baby, when it is born, is unable to differentiate between faces, people, things. If heaven forbid it remains in that state, then it is just retarded. It's not developing. Development means acquiring a state of separation. Acquiring a state where you understand separation. You understand this is you, this is your mother, this is your father, this is your brother, this is your teacher, this is this, this is that. So the very same way that we learn in Torah tests about the Nekuda of Etz Hadas Tov Hara, where this is the parquet on which the game is being played. That the good and bad mix it up. Everything starts with a separation. It's a beginning, it starts with a separation. But the question is, where are you taking this? Love has a quest of making everything into one, okay? If you love food, okay, what you do is you open up a soup kitchen. You make the best dinners for your family. You use this to unify, to bring people together, to make sure that people have food, that people have lust for food is the thing that brings a person to either go, with this Michigan gourmet things, or fill up his plate with a ton of food. The thing about lust, any kind of lust, is that it's not about giving. In fact, it's not even about having pleasure. It's about having. It's about exercising control. I fill up my plate with food. I don't know if I'll be able to eat this whole thing, but it's mine. I have it. The same thing with money. I mean, how much money can a person possibly use in a lifetime? It's not about that at all. It's about having. It's about control. It's about separation. So when the daylight comes and the emergency has passed, the body pulls its own way. That's the son of the slave. The neshama pulls its own way. Yes, it is true that even the true son of the king is going after the animals. But the difference is still that he is going after his duty, which is he was told to bring back the animals. We will soon find that at a certain point in your development, in your spiritual development, this is no longer relevant. This is why he finds a sack of bread. There's a certain point in time in your development, in your spiritual development, that you realize that parnasa comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Completely. It doesn't matter if you're going to have 5 rooms or 6 rooms or 8 rooms or whatever. You know, it's like there's a story about the Ukrainian twins. Going to Ukrainian, I think 3 Ukrainian twins that make it really big, Ukrainian or Russian, made it like really big. They all became like, you know, oligarchs, like billionaires and whatnot. And they made so much money that when they got together, they decided, you know, they had this old mother, and they decided that, you know, she's going to have a birthday, and each one of them each one of them has given his mother a gift, and they're boasting to each other. Each one, you know, see how much I love our mother. This is what I gave her. Okay, so the first son, who was this big rich guy, he got his mother this Rolls Royce, this handmade car with a chauffeur, and he can just take her absolutely anywhere. You know, the gas is on him; she can go anywhere. You know, she's served from head to toe. So the second one says, that's nothing. I bought our mother this chalet, you know, this mansion. Has like 50 rooms with gardens, with, you know, waterfalls and whatever you can think of. And the third one said, you guys, you don't know our mother. You know what I got her? I got her a parrot. But this is not just a parrot. This is a very special parrot. This parrot knows by heart the entire New Testament. From beginning to end, you can ask the parrot anything from any chapter and it'll just tell it to you straight out. So after a while, they all get a letter from the mother. The first son that gave her the Rolls Royce gets a letter. It says, what kind of a no good nick of a son are you? What the heck do I need a car with a chauffeur? I don't go nowhere. I mean, what do I have? I have a few chickens, and this is what the heck do I need this whole, it's like, I don't need, you never knew what you were doing. You never. The second one gets a letter from his mother, and the mother said, what do I need 50 rooms for? So I have 50 rooms to clean. What kind of son are you? What kind of a shlimazel are you? You were never good. I know that you'll never come up to anything, whatever it is. The third son got a letter, and his mother says, son, I always knew that you had greatness in you. You know, from all the gifts, yours was the best. I'm telling you, the chicken was delicious. Anyhow, so comes to show you, wealth is not about enjoyment. It's about having. So the while the real prince is still running after Parnassa, it's running after something which, at least in the face of it, is sensible. The body, which is the son of the of the uh, of the slave, it has elevated. You know, the lusts for, you know, there's a lust, you know, for physical things, and once it meets an elevated truth, it meets the real prince, it starts to have higher lusts, and that's the lust for honor. This is vanity is the thing that typifies a horse. Horse is all about vanity, all about fighting, all about Titus. And it's when they separate, when they finally separate, when the neshama separates from the idea that it has met the body and they both were on the tree. They're both met by the tzaddik. The tree is Eitz Hadas, the tree is the Torah. They tasted the truth. Now it's time for the prince to move on. So the first step that he's moving on, he finds a sack of bread. People are constantly looking for all kinds of tricks to make money. You know, if it's rounding corners, if it is helping a Kadosh Baruch Hu by deceiving someone, or whatever it is, when somebody actually realizes that he needs to do Masa Matan Be'emuna and be totally honest about his money, this is when somebody is blessed with good children that may go through whatever it is they may go through, but they will come back. You will find a sack of bread when you decide that you don't talk in shul. B'chlal. You come, you daven, you learn, and that's it. No dibur echol. I'm not talking about during davening. Even not during davening. You go to shul, you don't talk at all. Somebody wants to talk to you, you go like this, let's go outside. Outside, I can hear you. Nothing in the shul. You'll have no problem with Parnassa. Rabbeinu explains that when a person gives Meiser from his money, Chazal speak about a certain kind of a loaf of bread that is not actually eaten, but it's used for cooking. It's called koilon shel tabachin. What it's used is it's put on the top of the pot in order to suck off the scum that comes up to the top of the pot when it's cooking. Like when you're cooking lentils or whatever it is. So there's, the scum comes up to the top. So this, it sucks it off. It used to be when people, I don't know why they're not doing it today, because it's probably still the best remedy for that. But when people have an upset stomach, the best thing, because they ate something wrong, whatever it is, the best thing to do is to take charcoal tails, because charcoals actually, sponges off, detoxifies the stomach. And this what Misa does. It's almost impossible for anyone to have in his income that'll be completely clean of any kind of gezel, any kind of ribis, of any kind of other gezel, other ribis, whatever, whether from you or somebody who came before you, whatever it is, it's very, very difficult. But when a person gives Meiser from his money, the Meiser, Rabbeinu says, is detoxifies all, it takes away all the impurities, all the chashash gezel. You do what you can while you're doing business, but it separates, the chaff from the kernels, and what is remaining is just a kosher parnasa. And kosher parnasa is a very, very, very big thing. When you are continuing on your journey, in your avodas Hashem, you'll realize that you'll have to do things, especially when you have a family, you have to raise a family, there are needs. But as you go along, you'll realize two things. A, you realize that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to sustain you the way that you are used to sustain yourself, at the level that you're used to. If you are, going into your business matters with your eyes wide shut, in other words, you spend more than you make, for whatever reason, I don't care, you will crash into a wall. That's just the way it is. But if you are making a cheshbon of what's going on with your life, how are you using your money, how much you're spending, how much is the income, and you're just going b'seichel, and you're giving ma'aser, you're giving tzedakah, at a certain point you realize that you have everything that you need. And you always will. You always will. As we spoke about Motzei Shabbos, there are different steps in wanting. There's when you basically want, which is very good. And there is when, you can't do. So the Torah says, okay, you don't, if you can't, then you don't have to. He says, yeah, but that's not what I want. I want the thing itself. I don't want, I don't want to be off the hook. I did my best. That's not good enough for me. I want the actual thing itself. When you are self-sacrificing yourself in order to do, because no is not an option. In avodas Hashem, you have to do it a lot. When you're moving from a state of running your life irresponsibly, financially, or in any other way, and you are moving towards financial health or any other kind of health, you will always meet a certain point in which you have to get out of your envelope of comfort and want that thing that you are going after. If it means paying the rent on time, if it means putting food on the table, if it means taking care of your health, whatever it is that it needs to be. If you're moving from a state of irresponsibility to toward a state of health, you will need at a certain point in time to use that power to overcome, to want without any kind of compromises. It has to happen. But once you get there, once you go over there and you move forward, you will realize that you no longer have to worry. The truth is, you never did. You never had to worry. But you didn't know about it because you thought HaKadosh Baruch Hu and you were separate. HaKadosh Baruch Hu was like waiting for you around the corner, waiting for you to slip and catch you. It's not because there's something wrong with you or something was wrong with you. It's because that's the way things are. You're moving from a state of separateness to the state of togetherness. At a certain point in time, you understand, yeah, you may have to work, yes. You may even have to work hard, but you don't have to worry. A very smart and wealthy person told me years ago, you need a certain amount of money to live. And then you need a certain amount of money to be comfortable. And he said, everything beyond that doesn't matter. Which you have to admit is a very sane state of mind for somebody who's rich. Whether he lived by that or not, that's a separate issue. I mean, he lived according to what he understood. But even to say it is a madrega. When you realize that you be loyal to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you do what the tzaddik tells you to the best of your ability. If you have problems along the way, it's because these are the medicines that you need to take. That's the best thing for you. You need to work, you work. But you don't need to worry. There was a wonderful letter that the Vizhnitzer Rebbe, not this one, not the one before, but his grandfather, or maybe his father, one of the first Vizhnitzer Rebbes, he wrote a letter to one of his Hasidim, in which the Chassid wrote him a letter with worries of Parnassa, what he's going to do, what's going to this, what's going to that. So he told him, he wrote him back a letter, and he said, it is said, Uberechecha bechol asher ta'aseh. Hashem will bless you with whatever it is that you do. And the Vizhnitzer Rebbe wrote him as follows. If it wasn't for this pasuk, which allows you to do, it would have been an avera to do any shtadlus for Parnasa. What do you mean? Kadosh Baruch Hu feeds everybody. But being that there's a pasuk that says, the Torah has given you permission to do ishtadlus. He writes him. But dagom yitir lecha. But worrying, whoever allowed you? Who allowed you to worry about parnasa? This the Torah doesn't allow. You do what you do. You do what you need to do. You just find out, am I living sanely or insanely? That's it. The rest is not up to you. You keep on doing what Kodesh Baruch Hu wants you to do. You keep on doing what you need to do. Worrying it's not even optional. Suffering is optional. But you have to get to a certain point where you feel, okay, I'll let go. All right, so I shouldn't worry. All right. But I still worry. So what do? It's very nice, you're having this Zoom share and you're sitting there like a Maharaja and giving us, the speeches, how you shouldn't worry. But what shall I do if I still worry? The answer is you just go to Kadosh Baruch Hu and you talk to him about it. You realize that, yeah, you're not holding there yet in this level of not worrying. You're not there yet. You will be, don't worry. But you talk about it. You realize that's a deficiency. You have to understand that most people, B'chlal, think that when you talk like this to them, that you're nuts. You're out of your cotton picking mind. What do you mean not worry? You do worry? Okay, so you have a problem. It's like I have thoughts, licentious thoughts. It's a problem. Okay, it's not the end of the world. I work on them. I talk about them. I worry about parnasa. So I go to Kodesh Baruch Hu. I'm worried about parnasa. I don't know what to do. And many times when you talk about it, to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and you ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu about it, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you the insight that it's not really the parnasa that you're worried about. I mean, it depends each person, but because you believe that you deserve not to have, because you always were left for last, or whatever it is that your history shows you. So this is the thing that it's creeping in. So in this particular case, worry is not really the state, I need parnasa, I don't have parnasa, so therefore I worry. But the truth of the matter is that I need to worry. So I'm sort of put myself in a situation where I don't have parnasa. It's complicated, all right? You bring it to Kadosh Baruch Hu, you talk about it. Bitachon is an extremely important nekuda to work on. And there's a Sichas Haran in which Rabbeinu says openly, it is good for a person to have a steady income so they can use the bitachon for other things. People think that to be a Breslauer means that you just just throw away the world and don't look at it and don't worry about anything and just like Rabbeinu says, no, that's not necessary at all. Rabbeinu says, "Efkeris and tzrichin klal." So you don't have to throw, just completely abandon, normal life at all. It's not necessary. Even though real hefkeris, real reckless abandon is when people do everything except, they only work and they don't worry about the world to come. This is true hefkeris. This is true reckless abandon. I says, but even that which the people usually call reckless abandon, when you just devote yourself to Torah and Avodas Hashem, you don't care about anything else. But it says even this you don't need. Yeah, you can have a job, work, no problem. Say them. In fact, it says if you find that you can't study, like continuously and serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu continuously, right? It said ideally what I would want you to do is I'd want you to be, serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu, without stop, ceaselessly. And then when you're hungry, just run into a house, take a piece of bread, take a bite, and go back to serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the madrega of Avodas Hashem Rabbeinu want us to be. He says, but if you see, Rabbeinu says, if you see that you're mevatel, you need to take a rest, you need to, take a breather, as it were. You can't just do it like this. But he says it's a mitzvah to tell you to go to work. It's a mitzvah to tell you to go to work. And when you go to work, you're doing a lot of different things. We're into your Torah Zayin. We learn the tremendous things that you're doing with Masa Matan Be'emuna. Worrying is a machshava zara. Worrying about parnasa is a machshava zara. You have to find out what it is that you're worried about. Are you worried about making a living, or you have problem making a living in order to worry? Find out what it's about. Speak to somebody who knows. Are you living within your means? Whatever it is, are you chasing a behemoth? Are you chasing a horse? But bring it to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's no problem, big or small, HaKadosh Baruch Hu cannot solve. Go ahead and talk to him. Speak to him. Bezrat Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu should give us all plenty of parnasa, dai v'hoisa, that we should give it into the mouth of Talmidei Chachamim and Tzaddikim. And Bezrat Hashem, we should never have any, discombobulations from money, not from too much money, not from too little money. And that all our money, Bezrat Hashem, will be kosher and clean from any kind of gezel and ribis and haina and any kind of the same thing that applies to speech applies to a person's money, and much more so, and clean of any greed whatsoever. Hashem should bless you and me and everybody together. That will be that for tonight.